Welcome back, tribe. So I've been covering stuff in Bucharest for you guys. Some people have said that I'm making it look like milk and honey and that not everything is as great as it seems. Underneath the surface, there's a lot of problems. There are actually. It's not all milk and honey. However, there's some things that people need to understand, and maybe I can temper some expectations about what you would see when you get here, the reality of it all. We'll start with the big one that's always discussed, healthcare. As far as public hospitals go, it's true. I would not want to even step foot and smell a public hospital in Eastern Europe, Romania specifically, where I'm from. The public hospitals are shit. They are below the standard of quality that you would want from a hospital. However, there are private hospitals, which you could pay slightly more for because the public ones are typically free. You go to a private clinic and you will have a great standard of care. To the locals, private clinics are used when you need to have big operations done or something specialized for all the little things like getting your throat or ear checked or something like that. Basic checkups and preventative care, whatever happens in the public clinics because it's free and it's not a big deal. When you need something done, some major, you will go to the private clinics and you pay. The same in America. Some public hospitals, although the standard of care across the board is multitudes higher than Eastern Europe, you get what you pay for in America as well. The best service and the best care comes from private doctors. You cannot escape this reality. Private always beats public for the most part. Eastern Europe, that extreme is far bigger in gap. The difference between public and private care is absolutely massive. If you're coming here on an Westerner income, you'll already be going to the private hospitals and getting the best care anyways. You will never need to step foot in a public hospital. For you, the cost of going to the private hospital is a joke compared to the United States, for example. You'll pay almost nothing in relation to your Western salary, your pension, your retirement fund, your 401k, whatever it is, the dividends you collect from the stock market, I don't know. But for you, it's a joke. For locals, not so much. But that's not what we're talking about here. Your experience coming here with a Western salary will be what I'm exactly experiencing. Now, another comment on some of these videos that I've gotten is, why don't you show them the poor side? Because Bucharest is a very big city and the southeast, I believe, has a few poor neighborhoods. So some of the people are like, why don't you go show them the ghettos? Here's what you Romanians and some of the Westerners need to understand. A ghetto in Bucharest is not even close to being compared to like the Tenderloin or Skid Row in Los Angeles or Southeast Atlanta or South Phoenix or any other major cities that I've lived in. Romanians, and you'll learn about them, Eastern Europeans in general, love to be self-deprecating, love to talk shit about themselves and their country, and they're professional complainers and self-criticizers. So to them, the ghetto in Bucharest is absolutely abhorrent. But these people have never stepped outside Romania, never been to a major capital in America, and to see what an American ghetto looks like today with fentanyl zombies, today with people looking like it's a Call of Duty zombie lobby and you're fighting for your survival. You can't even drive down the street with trash, with tents, with drug addicts openly using, with crimes, robberies, murders. You can't take a camera in America down Skid Row. You will 100% be either robbed at knife point or a gun pointed in your face to take your camera. People don't even want to be filmed. You have to drive by slowly in your car filming them. Ask anybody that's tried to film some of the ghettos in America. You're 100% going to get robbed. In Romania, the ghettos, nowhere near any, there's no guns like that. Stabbings, sure. But you can walk during the day, nothing will happen to you. You can film around like other YouTubers have. I'm sure you can find the worst neighborhood in Romania. There's some nasty looking apartments with trash everywhere and shit that the city neglects. That's the worst. That's literally the worst here. For us in Romania, that's an absolute travesty. We can't believe people are living like such animals there in the ghetto. But these people have never seen what American ghettos look like. This used to be the reverse. In 1990s, once communism fell, people would skin you alive just to live in an American ghetto. The difference between what a 1990s ghetto in America was like versus the rest of Romania, even the nice areas, was tremendous. It's unbelievable. People would flock to illegally get into the United States or other Western European nations because even the ghettos were better than the best of what Romania could offer. So it's understandable that these people that are not traveled as well simply don't understand what mass migration has done, parallel societies have done, and having access to weapons has done to a formerly safe society. So no, as somebody with a Western salary, speaking to all the people from the West that would come to live here, we don't give a shit about Ferențari and all the other shitty parts of Romania because you as a local Romanian, we as Romanians would never even live there anyway. That's just pointing out a bad example. That's like you going to America and trying to live in Skid Row or South Phoenix. It's a joke. Nobody wants to live in a bad area. But comparing two bad areas, you have no idea how well you have it. Infrastructure. They're saying that I'm showing you the best of the best. Again, remember, I'm in the more upscale area, which I've mentioned multiple times. You won't see until I go to the city center, and I'll show you guys Old Town and all that stuff soon. What some of the older communist blocks look like. Very ugly, aesthetically speaking. Graffiti everywhere, but as I've explained in some other consults with guys, the graffiti in Bucharest isn't the same as graffiti in America. In America, graffiti denotes a high crime area, poverty, and in general, just a destitute lawlessness where you see a ton of graffiti all over the place. You're typically entering into a bad part of town. In Romania, the graffiti is some leftover stuff from post-communism Wild West days as the country was beginning to right itself with capitalism and starting to modernize to catch up to the rest of the EU. Romania now is at 80%. It's tied with Poland in terms of the EU averages. People don't know that a place like Bucharest surpasses places like Athens, Madrid, Berlin, and Budapest. People have no idea. The GDP of Bucharest alone is higher than all of Croatia. People have no idea. And people don't know, it says right here, in 2023, Romania surpasses Spain and Portugal, as well as all the Eastern EU states, including Poland, in terms of individual consumption per capita. People here have money, especially in Bucharest. However, in traditional Eastern European fashion, income inequality outside of the capital is horrendous. You will start to see infrastructure literally collapsing before your eyes when you go to the countryside. This is the difference between a well-balanced economy, such as the Western nations, where you can go to small towns and see infrastructure typically has the same standards as the capitals. Here, it's not the same. All the paved roads will start to give way to dirt roads. There will not be street lights on every street. The houses begin to look more and more decrepit. Infrastructure collapses the further you go from the capital until it picks back up again as you approach a regional city. It's very uneven in terms of building here. This may be a massive turnoff for people. But if you're a Westerner, you never plan on living out somewhere in the countryside unless you buy land and build property there and you want to get away from it all. By all means, you have a huge advantage. The general feeling when you come to this place, as far as the capital goes in major regional cities, people tell you 1990s America or Australia, early 80s, early 90s. It's extremely family oriented. It's very safe. Law and order reigns supreme. People are well behaved. There is enough disposable income by the families here, even on a Romanian salary, that they're able to go out, spend, and consume money. Cost of living has not outpaced income to the extent that it has in the West. People here still buy properties and can afford it, can afford to start families. If you don't believe me, check it out here. 95%, the highest shares of ownership were observed in Romania. There you go. Which country has the highest percentage of homeowners? Number 1, Romania. It's above Laos. It's above Hungary. It's above Slovakia, Lithuania, Cuba, 7, Vietnam, 8, Croatia. This is the World Population Review website. It tells you where everybody's at. The United States is this light blue, and it's looking like 60%. Yeah, United States stands at 65%, and that was in 2022. So when I tell you guys that the people here have a work-life balance, a quality of life that's unheard of in the West, this is what I'm talking about. Imagine when transportation and housing doesn't destroy your wallet, even on your depressed income, because, and that's compared to Western salaries, because the cost of living here is still at an acceptable ratio, people get to live their lives. They're not working to be slaves. There's family life balance. And that's why Romania is one of the few European nations whose birth rate is actually increasing. Compared to most Western nations whose birth rates are plummeting, Romania's hit a rock bottom around 2000 and slowly started rising. And it's rising every single year. It's below replenishment, but we're on the trajectory upwards. You see, 0.3 increase, 0.3 increase, 0.3 increase. Every year, it's a 0.3 increase. As the nation becomes more and more modernized, more and more Romanians own property, 95%, have access to transportation, both public and private. It makes sense to have babies. They're able to afford somewhere to live. And starting a family in a family-oriented nation is much easier. When I tell men from the West just how different this aspect of life is, and it completely changes your point of view, these statistics are a lot of the things you guys don't know about and don't feel until you come to a country like this. Despite all its problems, despite the corruption, despite the politicians, the country is growing despite these people. They're not helping. Any Romanian could tell you all the tremendous growth Romania has experienced was despite the dirty politicians and the corruption. We could only imagine what a country like this looks like situated in a perfect spot in Europe for trade, what it would look like if it was humming on all cylinders. It's a country with great potential that's being held back in almost every single direction, yet still making incredible gains to catch up to the rest of Western Europe. And this guy has the GDP per capita Eurostat here on this video that I'm just reading all the comments responding to right here so you can see them yourself. Per capita Eurostat 2023, Germany is at 115%. EU average is 100. You have Czechia, Slovenia at 91. Romania and Poland are tied right now, 80%. And there's all the countries below it. Greece is only at 67%. That's a popular place Americans go to for vacationing and all that. Poland is one everybody says is saving Europe and the last bastion in Europe. Romania has already caught up. I think Romania is one of the countries that are being slept on as all the craziness in the West is happening. Now, there's a difference for the guys interested in moving to a country overseas and they're still thinking, for example, I had this conversation with somebody in the private community in a consult, if you wanted to do Eastern Europe versus Asia and what would be better. If you're worried about money and your budget is tight, Asia is unbeatable. If you want incredible skylines and infrastructure and public transit, Philippines and Thailand is your place to be. You will not find Bangkok level development here in Bucharest. We're talking huge skylines with infinity pools. No. The vibe in Eastern Europe is far more relaxed. Lots of green spaces, lots of park, not a lot of tall buildings. Old world Europe vibes. Asia gives you more of this super dense, urban, fast-paced, competitive, everybody's on the go, 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 incredible infrastructure. Asians do infrastructure the best right now. It is what it is. I say this as an Eastern European. I'm in awe at what China's building. I'm in awe at what Singapore looks like, Japan looks like, all the Southeast Asian countries that are catching up now, the Philippines, Thailand, all of them have infrastructure down to the T. It makes all Westerners look like a joke. Travel there for yourself and you'll see what I mean. Japan is one everybody knows about and it's the ideal of everybody's trying to build like. But even places like Dubai now, if you look at their infrastructure, absolutely tremendous what sprouted out of the desert. When you go to Dubai, you'll want to say, this is what America should look like. Eastern Europe is your place if you want a slower pace of life, far more green, work-life balance, family-oriented Eastern Orthodox society that's more traditionally minded. Some of the other stuff people mentioned was driving. He said, because I'm not driving, I don't understand how dangerous roads are. I do have a car. I do drive. I just do my walk and talks because they're walk and talks. I prefer driving in Eastern Europe 1,000 times over American drivers. Why? Because American drivers are practically asleep at the wheel. It's too easy to drive in America where people are always on their phones doing this and that. They do this everywhere around the world. But the difference here in Romania is people seem sharp behind the wheel. They're quick to cut you off to get ahead. They're quick to make their turns when needed. They seem more confident driving here. Somebody will mistake that for being aggressive. I just think that's assertive, confident driving. I don't find anything unsafe about driving in Romania. People drive exactly how I expect them to drive. If you arrive at a four-way stop in America, there's going to be a moron across from you, inch it forward, maybe thinking of going, then you think of going, then you stop, then they think of going, then you stop, constantly questioning themselves. Here, if that dude arrived first, even by a microsecond, he's fucking gone. There is no guesswork. I know he's about to beat me to that stop and he's going. I don't have to wait on an idiot 10 minutes when the light goes green. They'll go right away. They drive like they don't have time. I appreciate that. Maybe because I drive the same. American roads are extremely good, far better. The highway, the interstate system, shits on almost every other country. This is what America does well. At least it did when it was building out its infrastructure. You will not find 6-lane motorways here in Romania. You will be traveling on 2 or 3 max. The roads are not in the same quality. This is true. The roads in Romania are shit for the most part. They are starting to build motorways, speedways. They are getting better. It's a slow progress. I'm surprised that they haven't had an interconnected highway for the entire country yet. It blows me away. They're working on it slowly. The rest of the roads are shit. This goes back into infrastructure. The further you go out from the capitals, the shittier the roads will become. That is a known fact. That's the part that I don't like when it comes to driving in this country. And the fact that we don't have a massive interstate network of roads that connect all the major counties. I have to drive through little towns. I have to drive through a bunch of small, narrow roads with a ton of traffic. It takes you forever to get anywhere if you ever leave during peak because everyone's taking the same small, shitty road. And they take forever to build the goddamn highways here because of, I don't know, corruption or money, a multitude of things. I wish we took some cues from the Asian countries whose work ethic and infrastructure is unmatched. They will sprout up entire highways, cities in no time at all. It is what it is. But just to wrap it all up before we get lost in the sauce here, don't be afraid to go travel. Check out Romania for yourself. Eastern Europe in general, it's extremely beautiful. Infrastructure will be a step down from what you're used to. even in the major cities, although it pretty much disappears, there will be certain things that you notice when you go around less traveled roads, the metro areas, in the suburbs of cities. You'll see that the development drops off quite dramatically compared to America. Regardless, it's extremely safe. It's extremely clean. There is no trash anywhere in most of the city. Trash cans can be found all over the place. People are cordial and nice. Everybody's minding their business. Nobody's mean mugging you trying to start problems. People don't hate each other. It's a monoculture still. Everybody feels like they belong to the same group. Home ownership being so high and transportation being cheap and available means people aren't living destitute paycheck to paycheck with one emergency that could land their ass out on the street where they lose everything, file for bankruptcy. People are just genuinely more relaxed, stress-free, happy. You can see it in the energy of the entire country. Are they unhappy about certain things? Of course, life could always be better. We could always improve. Government can do things better all the time. Americans know this well. You're living in the cities right now. Your entire neighborhoods are falling apart. It's gotten worse in the last 20, 30 years. The neighborhoods you grew up in no longer look like they used to. The people here have complaints about different reasons. It's not growing fast enough. When they compare their life in the 90s to life now, it's almost unbelievable how quick the change has been, how rapid the modernization has been. Their lives are changing before their eyes. They're catching up to the EU average, to the Western average. This is the gem for the Westerners that come here. On a Western salary, you will live well on very little. And final note, just remember, I am in Bucharest. You're only seeing one part of this entire country. The regional cities look even better, even cleaner, even nicer. I'm in the degenerate side of this country, the capital. My friends, I've been telling you to watch out for the capitals. I live here because infrastructure and everything is on par with the West. The average GDP here is higher than the EU average. People here have money. You'll see nice cars rolling around, exotics, 5-star restaurants, everything. You won't know you even left America. But like I said, you will know you left America the moment you step outside the city. But some of the regional cities are just as nice, albeit smaller. But that may be exactly what some of you are looking for. You don't need the hustle and bustle of a city, the smog, the pollution, the noise, all that stuff. You want to be somewhere quiet, rustling trees, leaves, beautiful sunshine, miles and miles of rolling hills, grasslands, pine trees. If you want to go to the mountains, they have everything here. And that's peace for some people. Let me know what you guys think on what I've been talking about. And please leave some comments below. Let me know some things to talk about, other topics to bring up, questions you may have about Eastern Europe in general or living overseas or just like that. Leave a bunch of questions, things, topics for me to cover in a little talk like this to you guys. And if you haven't joined us on the private community, we do have calls all the time, 4 times a week, where I'm speaking directly with you guys. We cover topics like this and other stuff directly with guys. If you want something more personalized, you yourself are leaving and need some help, some contacts, how to find rent, stuff like that. Other people in the community I could put you in contact with, just hop on a consultation. Links are all in the description below. And like always, boys, it's been a pleasure. Curious to see what you guys have to say, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.